Welcome back to Insightfully Spiraling, where we think it through, feel it out, and spiral just a little bit. I am your host, Annalise. Guys, it is our first ever episode. I am so excited. I have a lot to yap about, and I thought it would be fun if we could yap about it together. I just feel like, I don't know, I have some things I want to say to the world and some life lessons I want to share, hopefully help some other girls or boys or whoever you are that are in your 20s trying to figure out your life a little bit. Let's figure it out together. And part of growing up and figuring out your life is sometimes having a little bit of a spiral. So I'm so excited for today's episode. But this really would not be my podcast if we didn't have a little bit of a pop culture moment or a public relations moment. I was a public relations major in college and I love it. That when I first got to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And then I took a public relations class and I fell in love. I love the pop culture aspect of it. I love how it's marketing without the sales aspect of it. I don't know. I just love it. And I think it would be fun to do a segment called Not to Be Dramatic, and just kind of talk about what's going on and look at it in a little bit of a spirally way, a little bit of a PR way. And for our very first ever Not to Be Dramatic episode, let's talk about Hannah Montana. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up on Miss Hannah Montana, Miss Miley Cyrus. I remember my sister and I, we had Disney Channel and we had to sit through the commercials and my mom would make us go do chores or whatever we needed to do through the commercials. And then one of us would be in the living room going, "Okay, it's on, come back." And we'd run as fast as we could back to the couch so we could watch it. And it was only on at certain times. Guys, I loved it. Hannah Montana is a staple in my childhood. Actually, ever since they announced the special, which we didn't know we were getting a special, and neither did anybody else. I actually have been listening to like old Hannah Montana, old Disney music to work out to. It's kind of a vibe. Love the Hannah Montana stuff. I've also been listening to some like old Demi Lovato, like Get Back, La La Land type stuff. At 5 a.m, it really gets you through your workout. But anyways, Hannah Montana is a staple of my childhood. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I got a Hannah Montana wig one year for Christmas. And I have pictures of my dad and my uncle wearing the Hannah Montana wig. It had a purple sparkly headband. I'll have to see if I can find any pictures of it for those of you on YouTube. But I love it. I grew up with Hannah Montana. I grew up with Miley Cyrus. I love seeing her where she is now. But where the PR crises side of it kind of comes into it is the Hannah Montana special. Guys, I was so excited. I was so excited to see Miley put the wig back on, sing some Hannah Montana songs, go back to the set. I was a little bit disappointed. I think Miley looks great. Let's talk about the good stuff first. Miley looks fantastic. She looks so good. Her Hannah hair looks so good. Obviously, it's extensions, but she does have the bangs. She has the blonde hair. She looks amazing. The songs, the performances were spectacular. They were a little out of tune for what I was hoping for, but we still got our 2026 Hannah Montana, and I'm here for it. I love that they recreated the original set. Obviously, I loved Hannah's house that she eventually moved into. I don't know what season they changed sets, but I did also love that set. But the OG house is the best one, the one that Lily came skateboarding through and she had to hurry and take her Hannah wig off so Lily wouldn't know she was Hannah Montana. Classic, iconic, so good. The intro, beautiful. I love how just authentic Miley was. I think the last couple of years, she's really done some digging and taking care of herself and come back to Miley Cyrus. And I loved her jokes. She was so funny. Her stories she told were so good. I love that we got to see Tish kind of talk about her experience as Miley Cyrus's mom. I love that Billy Ray came back. Noah Cyrus was there for just a minute. I actually really liked that they brought in who was it? The casting director, the producer? I don't remember who that guy was, but I love the story that he told of seeing Miley audition. So good. Those were what I loved about it, which is a lot of things. Now for the PR crises. Miss Alex Cooper. Guys, don't get me wrong. I sometimes will watch and listen to Call Her Daddy. I understand. I think she gets really amazing guests on her podcast, and I think that's kind of what keeps it going. But, and I've seen a lot of people online that would agree with me on this one. She's just not that good of an interviewer. There will be people who answer her questions and there's like a little nugget of something to grasp onto in their response, and she just moves on to her next question in her cue card. So I just felt like her interview with Miley was very, very surface level and like didn't really give us what we were hoping for. And then later I found out it's because her production company Unwell is actually the company that put on the special. So that makes sense as to why she kind of got the hosting job, which, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that we got the special. I just wish we had gotten somebody else to be the host of it, to go a little bit deeper, ask some more follow-up questions and not just follow the cue cards. And then my other qualm I had was that Miss Chaperone was on the special. The whole thing about Hannah Montana is that she's relatable. She's a high school girl, but then has this like amazing life that nobody knows about, and everybody wanted to be her. And right now, especially since the special has aired and Chaperone got in trouble for having her security yell at that little girl, nobody likes her. Don't get me wrong, Pink Pony Club, it's a bop. It's a bop. I didn't really like The Giver. I like a couple of her other songs, but as a person, she's really not that good of a person, and I don't think very many people liked seeing her on the Hannah Montana special. I don't know. And I think, like a lot of other people, I was very disappointed that none of the rest of the original cast came back. And I understand from what Miley kind of said in the special, where it wasn't planned. She just started marketing for it so that it would happen, that the rest of the cast was busy. But, and I could be in the minority on this one. I personally would have preferred like a special that didn't come out on the 20th anniversary, that like, you know, maybe came out a couple of weeks later, that included some of the OG cast members like Jackson, Lily, Oliver, Rico, like just some of those really iconic characters, and just had the special come out later than it did. Personally, I actually love that they got Selena Gomez on it because she played that rival pop star girl. I don't remember her character's name, but I did love that they brought her on. I thought that was a great move, but I don't know. I think the only reason people are enjoying it is because it's Hannah Montana, and we all wanted a Hannah Montana special, and so we're taking what we can get. So, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Maybe I'm being a little bit dramatic, but not to be dramatic, it could have been better. So that's my pop culture spiral for today's episode. Let me know what you think in the comments below on Spotify or on YouTube, wherever you're listening. Anyways, I love me some Hannah Montana. I've been jamming out ever since. But I actually was watching the special when I came up with the idea for today's episode, which is our first one, and I'm so excited to talk about this with you guys today. But I was sitting I live in Arizona. I was sitting in the Phoenix airport, and I was going to Vegas for a work conference. I was not going for fun, but I was going for work, and I just remember sitting in the airport, I'm watching this Hannah Montana special, and I'm having a hard time concentrating because I'm so stressed. I'm like, I'm going to Vegas today. My laundry's not done. My house is not clean. Like, I just felt like I had so many things that I could have been doing at home instead of going on this trip for work, because I work a 9 to 5. And I saw a TikTok or a reel or something where someone said, don't be upset that your plate is full when you prayed to eat. Guys, that was like a smack in the face. That was like a big fat smack in the face that I needed. It was a good smack in the face. One of the few times I will ever say that was a good smack in the face, but it was a smack in the face. I just said that a lot of times, so that's okay. I think, and you guys are better than me if you don't do this, which means you probably don't do this, but I talk about how I want to do all of these cool things. And I talk about how I want to improve myself, or I have these goals, or I have these ambitions, these things that I want to do, whether it's in my life or in my career or with my family. And then I complain when I have to do work for them. Like, hello? So I just graduated from college at the end of December, and I am an esthetician. I had my own little salon when I was in my college town that I would wax people out of and do services out of there. And like, I was busy. I had a very consistent clientele on top of being a student. But like, I could make my own schedule. I would go home and see my husband between clients. I always had my evenings to myself because I could set my own hours and be done by 5 o'clock or whatever I wanted to do. I never had to work a Saturday unless, something crazy popped up, which was so nice. But then we moved to Arizona, and I was like, I want to get a job. I want to get a job that uses the major that I just spent a lot of years getting, to see if I actually do like it, and to, make some money, have my husband and I be in our dink era, which we're loving, by the way. And now that I'm here, I'm like complaining that I have this 9 to 5 that I have to go to. I'm complaining that I have to go out of town on a trip that was paid for by my company. My hotel was paid for. My food was paid for. The only thing I bought while I was there was a shirt because it was hotter than I thought it was going to be, and we were going to be outside. So I bought a tank top. And on our last morning, my coworker wasn't waking up. So I went and got my own Starbucks before she woke up. That's all I paid for. My whole trip, my plane ride, everything was paid for by my work, which is very, very nice. I appreciate my boss so much. But my plate is full, but it's really not that full because I work a 9 to 5, which is awesome, which is normal. Again, I'm enjoying my job. I love my coworkers. And then I come home and I sit on my couch and I scroll on my phone for an hour, and then I make dinner, and then we eat dinner, we clean up the kitchen, and then it's 9 o'clock and it's time to get ready for bed because we get up and go to the gym in the morning. Hello? Like, I'm sitting here complaining about the time that I no longer have that is being filled by the things that I prayed to have, while also scrolling on my phone. How does that make sense? I don't know. It doesn't. That's how. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Now, don't get me wrong. We do not need to be going all the time. I am a believer in balance. I am a believer in rest. I am a believer in active resting. How do I put this? I think that the mindset of balance and resting and protecting your peace on social media has gone too far. I think that we have gone from, I've been working hard all week. I'm going to take an hour on my Saturday to sit and watch my show and turn my phone off and turn my brain off and to just kind of veg for a minute. We've turned that into, oh, well, I did my 9 to 5, and so now I'm just going to sit on my couch and scroll the rest of the night because it's balance. But then we go and complain that our goals aren't being met, that we skipped the gym again, that the TikTok that we were supposed to film today didn't get done, that the walk we were supposed to go on today didn't happen and now it's dark, that we didn't, whatever your goal may be, didn't get done. But then on the days that you do those things, that you get up, you have your morning routine, you go to class, you go to work, you come home, you work on your scrapbook, you spend time with your boyfriend, your husband, your partner, whoever it is, and then you do your nighttime routine, and then you have dinner, and then you go to bed, and you're like, I was crazy busy all day. Those are the things that you prayed for. Those are the goals that you said, I want to have these goals. I want to become this person, which is amazing. It is so amazing to be able to look at yourself and say, you know what? I like myself, but I want to be better. And then to try and fill your plate with these things that will make you better, or will, whatever your goal is, make you money, make you a better person, educate you, whatever it is, to fill your plate with those things. But then we're going and complaining that our plate is full. What are we doing? What are we doing? I do the same thing. So if you feel called out, I'm calling myself out too. Trust me. I was complaining about getting a free trip to Vegas for work because I had stuff to do at home, and I still have those things to do at home. I went home, I did my laundry, my husband had the house clean, which was wonderful, and he picked me up. We had dinner, but my plate was still full. But because I changed that mindset, not only was I able to enjoy my trip to Vegas, which was 99% work, but I was able to look at the things that I was doing and kind of get out of that spiral and realize that these were things that I wanted to do. Or maybe they aren't things that I wanted to do, but they are necessary steps to get to where I want to be and to who I want to be. I hope this is all making sense to you guys. Makes sense in my brain. But again, here on this show, we insightfully spiral. So I think a lot of our conversations will be quite spirally, but hopefully they make sense and connect to you guys. They make sense and connect in my brain. I don't know, but I just think we have forgotten the importance of hard work, and we've forgotten the importance of appreciating the busy times in our lives. Yeah, I think that we have seen too many examples in our personal lives, and maybe not even in our personal lives, just other people in older generations than us, that all they did was work 24/7, 25/8. They were never home, never with their families, and were miserable because all they did was work, and we're afraid of that happening to us. And don't get me wrong, I'm the same way. I don't want to be working 24/7, but I also don't want to be sitting around relaxing 24/7, because then I get depressed and I hate myself. If I'm being quite honest, that's what happens. But I don't want to work all the time. I have a wonderful husband that I want to spend time with, and I'm 25. I want to be able to enjoy my life and to feel like I lived my life. I don't have any kids yet, and I'm excited for that day to come, but I want to feel like I took advantage of being 25 and married and not in college, you know? But when we look at it in the negative view of, oh my gosh, I'm so busy, my plate is so full, I have no time for anything, that's what we're going to look back on our 20s and say, oh my gosh, my plate was so full, I didn't have time for anything. Or we're going to say, you know what, I really wasn't that busy. I really wasn't that busy. All of the times that I was busy, I went home and scrolled on my phone for an hour and a half before bed. Guilty. And I think part of that is remembering that There's life outside of social media, which is really easy said, but really hard done. Easier said than done. I saw a quote the other day that said, I don't remember exactly what it said. It was really good though. I'm going to butcher it, but it said something along the lines of, if you want to live an incredible life, go out and do main character activities or something. And then it followed up with, would you watch a movie or read a book about someone who sits on their phone all afternoon, or someone who gets off work and watches TV until bedtime? I was like, that's so true. That's so true. And spoiler, I'm a big fantasy reader, not a smut reader, but a big fantasy reader. And the reason I enjoy those books is because they're out doing cool things. Now, don't get me wrong. Fablehaven doesn't exist. Hogwarts doesn't exist. Dragons don't exist. Well, maybe they do, but that's a conspiracy theory talk for another time. But that doesn't mean I can't be going out and doing cool things, or even just things that aren't on my phone. I guess my whole point of this is, number one, be on your phone less. But number two, appreciate having things to do. Appreciate having the free will, especially as a woman. We're not going to get into a feminist chat right now, but especially as a woman, having the freedom and the ability to go out and do cool things. How amazing is that? I got to go to college. That's awesome. Was my plate full in college? Absolutely. Especially my last couple of semesters, because I was just trying to bust it out and get it done. I was sick of being there. My husband was sick of being there. He was graduated. So I was trying to bust it out and my plate was full. But I got to go to class. I got to meet so many cool people. I got to work on so many cool projects. And even now, being at work, I work 9 to 5, but I get to get up. I get to go to the gym. I get to do my whole little romanticized morning routine. I get to have breakfast with my husband. Then I get to go to work. I get to meet with our clients. I get to talk to my agents and get to know my coworkers. And then I get to come home. Sometimes I go for a walk. Sometimes it is a little boring and I, do the laundry, mop my floors, whatever it is I have to do. And I get to make dinner. I get to watch my favorite show with my husband for a little bit. We live close to his family, so sometimes we have activities with them. Sometimes I have an appointment I get to go to and not sit on my phone the whole time. I have a lot of things to do, but how cool is that? How cool is that? 15-year-old me would think this is so cool. I don't know. Do I have other things that I wish I was doing? Yeah, but some of the things that are on my plate right now are necessary steps to get to the end goal. And hopefully when I get to that end goal, I will have new goals that will then make my plate full in a totally, completely way. And then eventually, when my husband and I decide to have kids, my plate will be full in another completely different way. I don't know. I just think that we forget. I think I've said that quite a few times in this episode, but I think we just forget that in order to live a life that's full, our plate has to be full. Yeah, that's awesome. Crazy. I just remember even the girls in high school that I thought were so cool were the girls that were just always doing stuff. They'd go to school and then they had some sort of sport or activity that they did, and then they'd have work, but then they wouldn't just go home and rest on the weekends. They'd always be going out with people and going out with their friends and going on a day road trip or going out of town for the weekend, or I don't know, figuring something out to do. They just figured out something to keep their plate full, and now they have cool stories to tell and beautiful, fun memories of the times that their plate was very full. I don't know. I hope this is making sense. If not, sorry, I'm still gonna post it. I just think I think that being busy is good. But I think it's a hard line between overworking ourselves and keeping our plate full and keeping busy. I can't tell you how to define that line. I think it's a little bit different it's a little bit different for all of us, but like one of my favorite content creators, her name is Hannah Lowther. Love her. We will be talking about her in our pop culture moment. I think in maybe my next episode. We'll see. I can't remember the order. I have them planned out, but she is in London. I think she's in one of the towns outside of London. Anyways, she is one of the busiest people I have ever seen on the entire internet. So not only is she touring full time with the production of Legally Blonde full time, she is the principal Margot and the understudy or cover for Elle Woods, comma Elle. And she also has a podcast called How Very Hannah. So then on her days where she's not in rehearsal, not on stage, she's filming a podcast. But then she also is creating Instagram content every day and TikTok content every single day. And then on her days that she's not doing her show or her podcast, she's going to awards shows, or she's speaking on the radio, or she's out doing things with her fiance because she's also engaged. Like, the woman never rests. And I think that's amazing. And she talks about in her vlogs a lot how she definitely gets very burnt out and very exhausted. But this is the life that she prayed for. This is the life that she dreamed for, that she dreamed of. She wanted to be someone who did musical theater professionally, and now she does. And that only came about because of her content creation on social media. And she just has kept up both career paths simultaneously. She has a team, she has a editor for her YouTube videos. She has people that edits her podcast for her, which is wonderful. And I think that's a great resource to take advantage of when you start to get big enough that you need some extra help. But she doesn't ever complain about it. She talks about how busy she is, and she talks about how she does her best squeezing in time to be with her friends and her family. And like I said, her fiance, Nuno. I think that's such a cute name. I live in America, so I've never met anyone with the name Nuno. But as much as she might says she gets burnt out, it's not coming from a place of complaining. It's coming from a place of, wow, I'm so lucky that I am able to do all of these things, and I have the ability to do all of these things. And I think that's a really hard mindset change, especially since COVID. I think COVID ruined all of us. Every single one of us. COVID was hard. We all had to stay inside. We couldn't talk to each other. We couldn't see our loved ones, our friends, our family. Hopefully you were living with family during COVID, so you didn't have to miss out on those times. But I am a very, very firm believer that COVID ruined all of us. But it's been 6 years. 6 years. 2026. Some ASMR for you about COVID. But it's been long enough that it's time to change our mindset. It's time to stop being frustrated and upset that we're busy, and time to be thankful. Thankful that we get to go outside and that we get to experience life and have cool opportunities, and that we get to fill our plate with so many things. I love to eat. Do you love to eat? Because if you love to eat, your plate should be full. Yeah. Anyways. So if you feel like you are too busy, maybe reevaluate. And maybe you are too busy. Maybe you're overworking yourself. There are some people in my life that are. But maybe look at the things that are on your plate and see if you are too busy or if your plate is just full of things that you wished for. See what kind of comes from that mindset change. So far in the week that it's happened to me, things have been good. We'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully a long time. But yeah, it's not a very long one today, but it's just my first one. And I just want to see what you guys think, how you guys like it, get my thoughts out there. But thank you for joining me on the first ever episode of Insightfully Spiraling. I am hoping to not only have some of these solo episodes, but I have some friends and family members that I think have good stories and good lessons and outlook on life that I am hoping to interview and will come on here with me so that we can all learn and grow together. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Let me know your guys' thoughts on not only keeping your plate full, but on the Hannah Montana special. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that, about Miley Cyrus, Chappell Roan, Alex Cooper, Call Her Daddy, the whole 9 yards. But until next time, thanks guys.